Capitol Hill, Seattle, Washington, a neighborhood teeming with life, independent coffee shops, and bookstores overflowing with forgotten treasures. But beneath this charming facade, a darkness festers. The ornate Victorian houses hold whispers of forgotten tragedies. Our story unfolds amongst these charming streets. Known only as the Mailman, a solitary figure haunted by his past. His father, consumed by addiction, left an unfillable void. Seeking solace in the shadows, he delved into the occult. Ancient texts became his obsession, promising power. He began with small rituals, desperate for meaning, each act a step further down a path from which there was no return. As the Mailman sank deeper, terror washed over Capitol Hill. Grisly murders left the community reeling, each victim with a queen of spades. Fear choked the vibrant streets. Parents clutched their children closer. The police were baffled, the killer vanishing into thin air. The city held its breath, waiting for the next move. The death of his father left a gaping wound. He tried to fill it with mundane routines, but the emptiness followed. Drawn to the occult, he devoured dusty books promising forbidden knowledge. He felt a thrill tracing ancient symbols, a connection to something powerful. He convinced himself it was a way to honor his father. The darkness within him grew. He started hearing voices, faint whispers at first. They spoke of a hidden world, a realm of power. The whispers grew stronger, telling him he was chosen. They promised him the power to reshape his destiny. He tried to ignore them, but they wormed into his thoughts, offering solace. The whispers led him to his first sacrifice, a stray cat. He felt guilt, but it was extinguished by the cold voice in his head. He followed instructions, drawing symbols with blood and charcoal. As the life drained from the animal, he felt a surge of power. He had crossed a line, stepping into a realm with no return. He needed more power. The whispers demanded it. They spoke of a ritual to grant dominion over spirit navigators. He scoured books, piecing together the ritual. He needed specific ingredients, a lock of hair, a bone, a black rose. Each item brought him closer to transformation. He was no longer the broken man. He was becoming something powerful. The bone cracker was about to be born. The whispers urged him onward.
The air hung heavy with the scent of blood and rain. Another victim, another queen of spades. Detective Coke White stood over the crime scene, his jaw clenched. The yellow police tape fluttered in the wind. The bone cracker's calculated cruelty spoke of a mind on the edge of madness. Coke was driven by a relentless need to understand the darkness. Coke White wasn't your typical detective. Haunted by his own demons, he saw his darkness in the killers he hunted. He had a reputation for getting results, thinking like the monsters he pursued. He ran his thumb over the Queen of Spades, the bone cracker's calling card. Coke felt a surge of anger, a primal rage. He would find this bastard and make him pay. The investigation was like wading through quicksand. Every lead led to a dead end. Every witness offered conflicting accounts. The bone cracker was a ghost, leaving a trail of blood and whispers. Coke felt the pressure mounting, doubting himself, questioning his sanity. He was walking a tightrope over an abyss, unsure if he wanted to make it to the other side. A break came from an unlikely source. A woman in a red leather booth in a smoky jazz club had information. She spoke in riddles, her words cryptic. She told me of a hidden world where the bone cracker drew his power. She handed me a velvet pouch with a withered black rose. "Find the garden where this grows," she whispered. and you will find the bone cracker. The Black Rose led me to a hidden garden in Volunteer Park. The air was heavy with decay and incense. I moved through overgrown paths, my hand near my weapon. The garden was a sanctuary, a place where outside rules didn't apply. I approached the greenhouse, feeling the bone cracker's presence. I steeled myself for the confrontation to come. The air inside the greenhouse was thick with decay. My flashlight revealed shelves with bizarre specimens. I moved deeper, my senses on high alert. Cobwebs brushed against my face. The floor creaked beneath me. In the center, I found a makeshift altar with a human skull. This wasn't just a lair, it was a gateway to a realm of darkness. The books on the altar were filled with cryptic symbols. I recognized some from the crime scenes. I pieced together whispers of the cult of the Crescent moon. The bone cracker was a high priest, a conduit for an ancient evil. The realization hit me hard. He was a threat to reality itself, and I was the only one who could stop him. As I delved deeper, reality and madness blurred. The book spoke of interdimensional beings and cosmic horrors. I questioned everything I knew. What if the bone cracker was a prophet warning of an impending invasion? I was staring into the abyss, and the abyss was staring back. The investigation was taking its toll. I was haunted by nightmares, drinking more, sleeping less. I was obsessed, consumed by the case. I spent every moment poring over the cult's writings. I knew I was risking everything, but I couldn't stop. I would see this through to the end, no matter the cost. Despite my efforts, the bone cracker was always one step ahead. He was a phantom, leaving a trail of blood and madness. I was chasing a ghost, a nightmare. He was taunting me, leading me on a twisted pilgrimage. I was determined to prove him wrong and bring him to justice. But I couldn't shake the feeling I was walking into a trap. The deeper I dove into the bone cracker's world, the more my own reality fractured. The lines blurred, up became down. Truth became a slippery, elusive thing. I was lost in a hall of mirrors, each reflection more distorted than the last. My obsession with the case consumed me. Sleep became a distant memory replaced by feverish scribblings in my notebook. I saw cryptic messages in everything: graffiti on a brick wall, the arrangement of leaves on a sidewalk, the flickering lights of a passing car. I pushed everyone away, my partner, my friends, even the ghosts of my past that usually kept me company. I was alone in the labyrinth of my own making, haunted by the specter of the bone cracker, who seemed to be always one step ahead, whispering in my ear, "Catch me if you can." The bone cracker's world was seductive, alluring in its darkness. It offered a perverse sense of order, a twisted logic that made a strange kind of sense in the dead of night, fueled by cheap whiskey and black coffee. I found myself drawn to it, tempted by the abyss that yawned before me. I started to see the world through the killer's eyes, to understand the twisted beauty in his gruesome art. The bone cracker wasn't just a madman, he was a visionary, a conduit to a realm beyond human comprehension. The whispers in my head grew stronger, urging me to let go, to surrender to the darkness. I knew I was walking a dangerous line, but the thrill of the chase, the allure of the unknown, was too strong to resist. I was like a moth drawn to a flame, knowing it would burn me, but unable to stay away. The bone cracker had become my obsession, my muse, my dark reflection. Section 3, A Dance with the Devil. I found myself playing a dangerous game with the bone cracker, a macabre dance of cat and mouse through the dark streets of Capitol Hill. Each crime scene was a message, a taunt, a challenge. The killer was toying with me, testing my limits, pushing me closer to the edge. I found myself anticipating the killer's next move, my mind working in tandem with the bone crackers. I could feel the killer's presence in the city, a palpable darkness that seemed to seep from the shadows, whispering my name. I was no longer sure if I was hunting the bone cracker or if the bone cracker was hunting me. Our destinies were intertwined, two sides of the same coin, locked in a deadly embrace. I knew that only one of us would walk away from this game. Section 4, the thin blue line, the pressure mounted, the body count rose, the media frenzy reached a fever pitch. I was running out of time, and my superiors were losing patience. They urged me to take a break, to let someone else take the lead, but I refused. I couldn't let go. Not now. Not when I was so close. I knew I was pushing too hard, that I was jeopardizing the investigation, my career, my sanity, but I couldn't stop. I had to catch the bone cracker. I had to prove that there was still a line between good and evil, even if it was a thin, fragile line that I myself was in danger of crossing. I was the only one who could stop the bone cracker. I was the only one who understood the depths of his madness, the twisted logic that guided his hand. I was the only one who could follow the trail of blood and madness to its source. I was the thin blue line standing between the city and the abyss, and I was determined not to break. Section 1, the summoning. A frantic call from dispatch shattered the oppressive silence of my apartment. Another victim. The details were chillingly familiar, a grotesque echo of the bone cracker's previous handiwork. But this time, there was something different. A message, scrawled in blood on the wall. Come and watch me dance with the stars. The message was an invitation, a challenge. I knew exactly where the bone cracker would be. Volunteer Park, the heart of his twisted rituals, bathed in the cold light of a full moon. I grabbed my coat and my service weapon, a grim determination settling over me. Tonight, the game would end. My heart pounded in my chest as I drove, the siren song of the city fading behind me. The park was eerily silent, the usual nocturnal sounds silenced by an unseen force. The air crackled with an electric tension, a palpable sense of anticipation. I was walking into the belly of the beast, and I could feel the beast's heart beating in time with my own. The clearing in the woods was bathed in an unnatural light, emanating from a circle of black candles arranged around a makeshift altar. In the center of the circle stood the bone cracker, his face hidden beneath a grotesque mask, his body swaying rhythmically to a silent melody only he could hear. He was chanting in a language I didn't recognize, his voice a low, guttural growl that seemed to vibrate deep within my bones. The air grew thick and heavy, the scent of blood and incense mingling with the metallic tang of fear. I knew I had stumbled upon something ancient, something powerful, something deeply, terribly wrong. He watched from the shadows, his hand hovering near his weapon. The bone cracker was lost in his ritual, oblivious to my presence. I knew this was my chance, my opportunity to end this nightmare once and for all. But something held me back. A strange compulsion to see what would happen next, to witness the climax of this twisted performance. As the bone cracker's chanting reached a fever pitch, the ground beneath us began to tremble. The candles flickered violently, casting grotesque shadows that danced across the trees. I felt a cold dread grip my heart. This was more than just a ritual. It was a summoning, a gateway to something dark and hungry, lurking just beyond the veil of reality. Suddenly, the bone cracker stopped chanting and turned, his masked gaze seemingly fixed on my hiding place. A low chuckle emanated from beneath the mask, sending a shiver down my spine. "You've come to watch the show, detective," the bone cracker hissed, his voice a raspy whisper that cut through the night. "Then watch and learn." In that moment, the air crackled with an unseen energy, and a swirling vortex of light and shadow erupted from the center of the circle. I watched in horror as the bone cracker stepped back, his arms outstretched, his body bathed in the ethereal glow. He was no longer a man, but a conduit, a vessel for something ancient and powerful and utterly alien. The battle for my soul had begun. The bone cracker, his voice amplified by the swirling vortex of energy, began to speak in a language that seemed to resonate deep within my bones, a language that bypassed my conscious mind and spoke directly to my primal fears and desires. He spoke of a universe far vaster and more terrifying than anything I could have imagined, a universe where humanity was but a fleeting afterthought, a plaything for beings of unimaginable power. He spoke of the spirit navigators, entities of pure energy that existed in the space between worlds, beings that had guided humanity's evolution from the shadows for millennia. He spoke of a coming storm, a cosmic realignment that would shatter the fragile illusion of reality and usher in a new age of chaos and darkness. And then, with a final, triumphant cry, the bone cracker turned his gaze upon me, his eyes blazing with an unholy light. "Join me, detective," he whispered, his voice a seductive purr. "Embrace the darkness. Become what you were always meant to be." In that moment, I saw my own reflection in the bone cracker's eyes, a glimpse of the abyss that yawned within my own soul. The air crackled, heavy with unspoken truths and the weight of a choice. The bone cracker, now a silhouette against the swirling vortex, awaited my decision. Would I succumb to the seductive allure of the abyss, join this cosmic dance of destruction? Or would I fight, cling to the remnants of my sanity, my humanity? I stood frozen, the gun heavy in my hand. I saw the terrified faces of the bone cracker's victims, heard their silent screams echoing in the wind. I saw the city lights in the distance, a beacon of the world I was sworn to protect. I saw my reflection in the bone cracker's eyes, a twisted mirror held up to my soul. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, the air thick with the scent of incense and ozone. I had walked through the fire, stared into the face of madness, and emerged changed. I was no longer the man I was before entering this twisted labyrinth. But one thing remained, my duty, my oath to uphold the law, even if it meant sacrificing a part of myself. The gunshot echoed through the night, a final punctuation mark in a symphony of madness. The swirling vortex dissipated, the unnatural light fading, leaving only the faint scent of ozone and the lingering echo of whispers on the wind. The bone cracker lay motionless on the ground, his mask askew, revealing the lifeless eyes of a man who had stared too long into the abyss. I stood over him, my chest heaving, the gun still smoking in my hand. I felt no triumph, no sense of victory, only a profound emptiness. I had won, but at what cost? I had peered into the heart of darkness and emerged forever marked by what I had seen. The sirens wailed in the distance, a jarring reminder of the world outside this clearing, a world that seemed so far away now. I had stepped over a line, crossed a threshold that separated the sane from the damned. I had done what I had to do, but a part of me knew that I could never truly return from this place. The case of the bone cracker became a dark legend in the annals of the Seattle Police Department, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones in the break room late at night. The newspapers had their headlines, the public had their scapegoat, but the truth, as always, was far more complex, far more disturbing. I, hailed as a hero by some, ostracized as a loose cannon by others, continued to serve on the force, but I was a changed man. I carried the weight of my experience, the scars on my soul like invisible tattoos. I had glimpsed the fragility of reality, the thin veil that separated the world as we know it from something far more terrifying. I never spoke of the things I had seen that night in Volunteer Park, the whispers that still haunted my dreams, the unsettling feeling that I had only glimpsed the tip of a very dark, very ancient iceberg. The bone cracker was gone, but the questions remained, lingering in the shadows, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked just beneath the surface of the everyday world.